They called it the House of Death, a decaying Victorian mansion on the edge of a forgotten forest road, where time itself seemed to wither and rot. Locals whispered its name in hushed voices, warning children never to stray near it, telling tales of disappearances, of bones found in the garden, and of a red light that flickered in the attic window every full moon. But to 5 college students, Chloe, Marcus, Jenna, Dylan, and Ethan, it was just another haunted house challenge, a spooky adventure to record for their growing YouTube channel. They laughed as they packed their gear, oblivious to the legends. The sky grew dark as they arrived, the trees seemed to lean inward like crooked fingers pointing toward the house, and an unnatural chill brushed their skin despite the summer night. The front door creaked open before they even touched it, and inside, the air was dense and foul, reeking of mold and something metallic like blood. The walls were lined with faded portraits whose eyes seemed to follow them. The floorboards groaned like an old man in pain. Jenna joked nervously, "The house is welcoming us," but no one laughed. Cameras rolling, they split up to explore their flashlights cutting through the pitch-black hallways. In the basement, Marcus found old newspapers describing the home's grim past, a string of murders, all occurring every 10 years, always with no survivors. Chloe wandered into a room filled with children's toys, all broken and covered in dust, where a music box played by itself and a tiny wooden horse began rocking violently. Upstairs, Ethan opened a door to a nursery where the wallpaper peeled like shedding skin, revealing strange symbols etched into the wood beneath. Suddenly, the house shifted. It was subtle at first, like the walls were breathing, but then doors slammed shut one after another, and their phones and radios died simultaneously. Panic set in as they tried to regroup, but the layout of the house had changed. Hallways twisted, doors led to brick-top walls, and the stairway vanished entirely. One by one, they began to disappear. Dylan was the first. He screamed as something yanked him into a crawl space filled with teeth. Jenna saw Marcus standing in the hallway, silent, with eyes completely black, and a smile too wide for his face. When she ran toward him, he melted into the wall. Chloe found herself trapped in a room where the floor was a mirror, reflecting not her image but a decaying version of herself that whispered, "You're already dead." Ethan tried to find an exit, but the windows showed not the outside world, but looping images of their own deaths playing over and over like a cursed film reel. The house grew louder with voices mumbling, screaming, laughing, and then silence, followed by the soft sound of a lullaby coming from every direction. The last to remain was Jenna. She found a dusty journal in the attic that belonged to a little girl named Mary, who once lived in the house and claimed the man in the mirror lived under her bed and fed on fear. Mary's drawings showed her family twisted and deformed, all with blackened eyes and stitched mouths. Jenna realized, with growing horror, that the house was alive, feeding on those who entered, shaping their minds and memories, turning them into part of its architecture. She ran through endless corridors that looped like a maze, chased by flickering shadows that whispered her name, until she came upon a grand ballroom where all her friends stood motionless, their eyes white, their skin cracked like porcelain, smiling as they sang a haunting lullaby. "You made it," Marcus whispered. "Now, you never have to leave." Jenna screamed and backed away, but the floor collapsed beneath her and she fell into darkness. When she awoke, she was seated at the dinner table with her friends, rotting and smiling, while an invisible force fed her spoonfuls of black sludge. Her mouth moved on its own, and she whispered, "Welcome home." Days later, police found their car abandoned on the road but never located the house. Locals claimed it only appears to those it chooses. The footage from their camera surfaced months later on a cursed website, showing the group's final moments, flickering lights, screams, distorted faces, and at the very end, a whisper, "You're next." Since then, every year, on the anniversary of their visit, someone else disappears near the forest road. No one dares search anymore. The House of Death doesn't need an address. It finds you when you least expect it, through a whisper in the mirror, a shadow under your bed, a lullaby at midnight, and when it does, pray you're not the last to be taken, because the house doesn't just kill, it turns you into one of its many echoes, trapped in its belly for eternity, screaming with no voice, watching the next soul walk in, smiling as they think it's just another ghost channel. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos.